Kirtan with Radha Madhav. Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Radha Madan Mohan Lalita Vishakha ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Sri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan ki jai, Sri Prahlad Narsimdev, Prahladesh Narsimdev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nita Nita Gaur, Sitanak Premanande, Hari 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 Bo.
Hare So welcome everyone to today's Srimad Bhagavatam session. And we are very fortunate to have with us Rishi Kumar Prabhu. Rishi Kumar Prabhu is a very dear disciple of his holiness Prabhupada Swami Maharaja, and currently he is playing very important role in ISKCON and various capacities. So first I will mention about his managerial services. He is the Vice President of ISKCON Delhi and also Vice President of National North India Divisional Council, that is ITC. Last year in February, we had Prabhu came. And also Prabhu is the trustee of the Ananda Foundation, which is serving Charan to best of children actually. He has come here to teach in GBC leadership course, and he has been the global topper at GBC College for Spiritual Leadership. Also, he is a trustee for Institute for Science and Spirituality, and he is also serving as Secretary of two departments of the ISKCON India Group, legal as well as organization structure and accountability. So, in this way, he is serving in various places. Yesterday, we were coming in car, so somebody called him and he told that I am coming to give classes. तो बोले कि आप सेशंस भी सेट आप सेमिनार्स वगैरह लेते हैं? बोले मैं कई समय से सेमिनार सेशन दे रहा हूँ, लेकिन मेरी मैनेजरियल क्वालिटीज के अंदर वो मेरा तरफ से आती है, कई बार उसको पता नहीं चलता, but we are very fortunate that Prabhu is here to give us session and we can use leadership course also in sessions. So we are very fortunate to have Prabhu here. Let us greet him by chanting Hare Krishna Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Is there you have a whiteboard or a screen? Where is it? Oh, the screen. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Gaurachandraya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Daivim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudiraye Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnanati Mirandhasya Jnanan Janashalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakata Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Gurun Sri Utapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhaite Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinatarana Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Desha Tarine. Hare Krishna. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 11, verse number 3. I think the chapter is entitled Lord Ramachandra Rules the World. Something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Acharyaya dadau shesham yavati bhustadantara manyamana idam kritsnam brahmanorhati nispraha. Acharyaya dadau shesham yavati bhustadantara manyamana idam kritsnam brahmanorhati nispraha. Acharyaya dadau shesham yavati bhustadantara manyamana idam kritsnam brahmanorhati nispraha. Someone wants to chant? Prabhu's. Vaishnavis, mothers. Thank you very much. Kindly repeat after me the word by word synonyms and the translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness and the preeminent Shiksha Guru for all of us. Srila Prabhupada ki. Acharyaya. Unto the Acharya, the spiritual master, Dadao gave Shesham, the balance, Yavati, whatever, Bhuhu, land, Tat Antara, existing between the east, west, north, and south. Manyamanaha, thinking, Idam, all this, Kritsnam, holy, Brahmanaha, the Brahmanas, arhati, deserve to possess. Nisprahaha, having no desire. Translation, can you repeat after me? Thereafter, thinking that because the Brahmanas have no material desires, they should possess the entire world. Lord Ramachandra delivered the land between the east, west, north, and south to the Acharya. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Spriha means desire. The best way to possess something is to not covet it. There's this old Hollywood film dialogue. Those of you who may still be recovering from your pre-ISKCON days like me would probably remember that if you really believe something is yours, set it free. If it comes back to you, it belongs to you. If it doesn't, it never belonged to you. That's what Krishna does to us. Krishna sets the jiva follow the path of his free will. Then lets the jiva do his bidding as he wants, his free will wants. So, Atmendriya priti vacha tare balikam, Krishnendriya priti icha dhare premanam. When the jiva seeks to use his free will. Now, what is the extent of a jiva's free will? Who can say? What is the extent of a jiva's free will? Yeah, what? Desire what? Sorry? No, what is the extent of a jiva's free will? I'm saying. Sorry? Yeah, that's it. Both of you got to kind of, Hari's chitta. So, to take shelter of Krishna or to not take shelter of Krishna. That is the extent of our free will. It's like a bull that is bound to that, that rope or the pole in which it moves around, pounding oil. What do they say in Hindi? Koluka bell. So that's the extent of a desire. Bhukti mukti spraha yavat pichachir hridi vartate. Yavat bhakti sukasyatra katham abhyutayo bhavet. Srila Rupa Goswami says that it is not wrong to covet mukti in one sense. It is not wrong to get liberated. Liberation is not the pishachi. Rupa Goswami says the spriha for liberation, the spriha for bhukti is a pishachi. So don't touch it with the barge pole. That is what Rupa Goswami says. But the Brahmanas are especially identified by Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as having no desire. They don't have any desire. Which means they don't have a desire that is independent of his. When we sang Chitte Te Korya Aikya, why do we sing that? Because our chitta is not necessarily Aikya, in Aikya. So we are seeking that prayer. Therefore, Lord Ramachandra handed over, it's mentioned here, the land between east, west, north and south. Now, what happens to the rest of the world? It's the land between the east, west and north and south. What about the east, west, north and south? So Lord Ramachandra gave the entire east to the Hota or the Hotra. Hotas are basically, they chant invocations, litanies, hymns, etc., specifically drawn from the Rig Veda. So they are Hotras. You see any of our sacrifices, they'll be there. In ISKCON deity worship ministry organized sacrifices or samskara organizes, it is always there. Hotra is somebody who chants litanies or incantations or invocations from the Rig Veda. And then the Adhvaryu is there. The Adhvaryu, he chants mantras from the Yajur Veda. He is also responsible for the standard operating procedures that are implemented in the yajnas. And then there is the Udgatri. The Udgatri, obviously, Ga means there is a singing involved. And Krishna says, Vedanam Samavedosmi. Samaveda is the source of all music. Like our Garudji. We have Garudji here? Somewhere? No. Garudji, when he flaps his wings, the verses of Samaveda, they emanate. So Samaveda, you see, it's so beautiful when you hear Samaveda, the way they chant, it's so beautiful. You know it is Samaveda. The music comes from Samaveda. So that is done by the Udgatri. And there is a Brahman or the Brahman. He is, in one sense, he is the head priest, in one sense, because he chants mantras from the Atharva Veda and he doesn't speak anything. He's normally silent. He looks at what is going on and then he especially chants mantras for Aparadha Bhanjana. When you're chanting mantras, it could be chanted wrongly, it could be incorrectly pronounced, the meter is different, etc. So he chants mantras for that. Like when we do deity worship, at the end of it, we chant Aparadha Bhanjana mantras, various mantras, Angahinam, Kriyahinam, or Pratijna Tava Govinda Name Bhakta Praneshya. There's so many prayers we say. So these are the roles of the acharyas in the sacrifice. So Lord Ramachandra gave the entire east, west, north and south to them. Now, the Vedic religion is very, very specific, or the Vedic understanding is very, very specific. It is not that there are only 4 directions. What about the corners or the area between the directions? You know better, you divided land. So that area was also delivered by Lord Ramachandra, this time to the Brahmanas. So there are many names for Brahmanas. One of the names is Bhusura, they are demigods of the earth. In general, we say that Janmano Jayate Shudra, especially in Kali Yuga, Kalau Shudra Sambhava, everybody is a Shudra. Shudra means one who doesn't know the purpose of life. Kalau Shudra Sambhava we say, but for the moment, if you assume that the Varnashrama Dharma can be properly implemented in Kali Yuga, then we say that Janmano Jayate Shudra, one who is by birth, everybody is a Shudra. Obviously, people don't know, that's why there is education, etc. Then what? Samskara Bhave Dvija. You have various samskaras right from the prior to the birth itself. There is Garbhadana, then there is Simantonnayana, then there is Jata Samskara, then there is Karna Chetana, Namakarana, Annaprashana, Chudadharana. There are so many samskaras. So these samskaras Bhave Dvija, they make a person twice born, especially when we say initiation, where Shastra is the mother and Guru is the father. That's his second birth. But samskarat bhave dvija. And then there is yajnika birth also, which is when we become a Brahmana. Vedat padet bhavet vibra. When you study the Vedas, what do you become? You become a Vipra. And then Brahmot janeti iti Brahmana. When you understand Brahman, you become a Brahmana. The Shastra says that idam hi vishwam bhagavan ivetaraha. A Brahmana is one who understands that this whole world is non-different from the Supreme Lord qualitatively, because it is also his body. Drishti sadam darshanestu bhavattanunam. The Lord's body, which is consisting of all the various jivas into whom he occupies as a super soul. Swamshena sarvat anubharit manasi pratita pratyak vishya bhagavate brihate namaste. Gajendra prays. So that super soul is present as a localized aspect in everybody's heart. That Brahman, who is the effulgence of the body himself, body of the Supreme Lord himself, Bhaswan yathashma chakaleshu nijeshu tejaha. It is his own teja. Or when you say Bhagavan, when you say Aishwarascha samagrascha viryasya sriha jnana vairagyosya shannam bhagatin gana. Or who is Bharta, Gamayita and Nivasati. That is Bhagavan. This Supreme Lord is understood clearly by the Brahmanas. Therefore, they have no other desires. They have no other desires because they got Krishna. It's like the nectar of devotion says that Krishna gives everything except pure devotion. Why? Why? Yeah, he used to sell himself. Hindi mein bolte big jata hai. He has to sell himself. Who would like to sell himself? And that too just over some Tulasi Dal and Ganga Jal. Extraordinary, isn't it? So, because it is so priceless, invaluable, and he can be easily purchased if the process is appropriately followed. So he doesn't give anything. He says, why is Lord Ramachandra giving everything in charity to the Brahmanas? He's saying, Lord Ramachandra asking, do you want the ornaments? They're saying, No, Lord Ramachandra. Saying, do you want liberation? No, Lord Ramachandra. Like Kolavecha Sridhar told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, what do you want? You want liberation? No, Lord Ramachandra. You want your material desires to be fulfilled? No, Lord Ramachandra. What do you want? You, Lord Ramachandra. So that is Nispriha. Krishnendriya Priticha Dhare Premanam. It's called love. Pretty interesting, huh? One of Lord Ramachandra's son's name is also love. So if you have love, then you will be Kush. So that is the way it works out, I guess. After giving everything in charity to the Brahmanas, Lord Ramachandra retained only his personal ornaments and garments. Now, Mother Sita went one step further. Whatever you can do, I can do better. She retained only her personal clothes and just a nose ring. That's it, nothing else. So, Lord Ramachandra gave the earth to the Brahmanas because they are without desires. So, for a leader, which is a very coveted post, people desire to be leaders. That is why there are elections. So, Srila Prabhupada says, in the forest of animals, the lion is the king. But what people don't remember is that the king is also an animal. So, if you're coveting something that is different from Krishna, although it is Idam hi Vishwam Bhagavani Vetaraha, they're non-different. People should understand that qualitatively. But when you try to covet something as having independent existence from Krishna, that desire has to be given up. And that is the first quality of a leader. Our Prahlad Maharaj prays to the Supreme Lord, the awarder of benedictions. Yadidasyasi me kaman varamstvam varadarshava kamanam hridyasamruham bhavatastu vranevaram. If you so desire, my dear Lord, granter of benedictions, Varadarshaba, greatest among those who grants, one of the names of the Lord is Varadaraja. Then what should you give me so that if you want to give me a benediction that will please me? Prahlad Maharaj says, Kamanam hridyasamruham bhavadastu vranevaram. Please remove the material desires from my heart, my dear Lord. So this is the first quality of a leader, that he should not be attached to his leadership position. That is why the concept of servant leadership has emanated. It is not just ISKCON and spiritual world. Even in the corporate world, servant leadership is much sought after as a state of consciousness. Shri Radha, Madan Mohan, Lalita Vishaka Ji ki jai, Shri Gauranta ki jai, Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan ki jai, Shri Prahladesh Narasimha ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It's very nice. By the time you complete all the deities here, you've gone through one full round of Vedic mantras. Everything is covered. So, those who are without desire, they get this. Srila Prabhupada used to say, first deserve, then desire. And the Brahmana or the servant leader does not think he deserves, like Prahlad Maharaj. How does he start? How does he start praying to Narasimhadev? Anybody remembers? He says, Brahmadaya Suragana Muniyota Siddha Satvekatana Katayam Vachasam Prabhahi Naradito Purukane Radunopi Pipru Kim Toshtu Marhati Same Harirugrajate. What do? I'm not qualified. People much more qualified than me have tried praying to you. What prayers can I offer? Because I am born in a family of demons with selfish desires. Ugrajate. So in other words, if you have any desire other than Krishna, we are a demon. Tough, huh? So let's keep it this way. If we want to not have desires, then we should worship Krishna. That will make us free of any other desires. Because one way Srila Prabhupada mentions is that if there is a glass full of muddy water, how do you keep it clean? You keep pouring clean water in it so that the silt and mud get deposited outside. So they say garbage in, garbage out. When you Ata Sri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grahyam indriya sevan mukhedi jikhvado swayameva spuratyata. And Savaimana Krishna Padaravindyo. That's the first thing. Because as a leader, Avanti Brahmana is a classic example. He was a Brahmana. As a leader, what do you think is the cause of all the problems? Manaparam karanam amananti. Mind is the biggest problem. Because from the mind emanate the desires. So then what do? You ensure that the desires that go in are pure. That way, a leader can become detached. So first qualification of the leader is that He should be detached from his desire for leadership. 2, he should cultivate desire, if any, only for the Supreme Lord. Nothing else. Only for the Supreme Lord. And it is mentioned that aprattam nas tvaya kimno bhagavan bhuvaneshwara yannontar hrudayam vishya tamohamsi swarochisha. Since you have already occupied the core of our hearts, the Brahmanas are telling Lord Ramachandra, you're already in our hearts and dissipated the darkness of our ignorance. Tesham evanakam partam aham ajnanajam tamaha nasyami atma bhavasto jnanadipena bhasvata. It is by his own bhava. Sada tad bhava bhavitaha. That bhava, when you possess it, then the ignorance in the heart is dissipated. And that is what the Lord has done. So you are already present in our heart, the most covetable entity that can ever be. What else do we want? We don't need anything else. Which is why one of the first qualification on devotion service is what? Moksha laguta krit. It is like, tuchha. It is considered meaningless, even desire for liberation. Because Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, what did you not give? The Brahmanas are asking Lord Ramachandra, what did you not give? You gave everything. Since you have entered our hearts, what use is the earth for us? So, this is like two set of leaders competing with each other to not be the leaders. Lord Ramachandra had the property of the entire universe. He granted it to the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas in turn are saying, we don't want this, please take it back. So, like I said, one thing is about the first quality of leader is that he is totally detached from this leadership position. Second thing, the only desire that one should cultivate should be to possess or to serve or to capture the Supreme Lord by service. That is the desire, just to serve the Lord. So there is a wonderful prayer from the Vishnu Purana, it's quoted. Srila Rupa Goswami mentions it in Padyavali. And I think all leaders should learn this prayer. It says, Matsamo nasti papatma na parati na kaschana pariharapi. Matsamo nasti papatma na parati kachana pariharapi. And he says, Kimbruvi Purushottama. And then what does he say? Yuvatinam yatha yunim yunam cha yuvatav yatha manopiramati tadvan manomeramatam tvai. Like a young man is attached to a young woman and a young woman is attached to a young man, may my heart be attached to your lotus feet. Pariharapi lajjesmin. Pariharapi lajjesmin. I am bowing my head in shame when I come before you. Because yogyata vichar kichu nahi pai. I come before the deities, I feel I am unqualified, I have nothing. Therefore, I bow my head in shame. Therefore, let my only desire be for the attachment to your lotus feet. So, if somebody really is attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, he will understand the fact that everybody is a part and parcel of Krishna. So, the next quality of a leader is that he is respectful to everyone. Dehanata jata jata, sakali saman koriti shakati, dehanata jata jata. As appropriate, he would respect everyone. Like Lord Krishna would meet the Pandavas, what would he do? He would offer obeisances to Yudhishthira and Bhima. He would embrace Arjuna and he would offer blessings to Nakula and Sahadeva when they would offer obeisances to him. So this is jata jata. At the same time, when Lord Krishna would, when he came back to Dwaraka, the queens also respected him, but they followed the Maryada. They embraced him with their own eyes. At the same time, because they are, please remember, let us all remember that they are Shaktis, they are no ordinary people. Queens with capital Q. So, what did they do? They would, when they would send their sons to Krishna, so that they can embrace him. And through them, because son is Atmaja, not different from the person. So this is, again, respect for etiquette, appropriate etiquette. They are also no ordinary people. In many ways, they possess Krishna, but still they respect the person. respect Krishna as a husband and respect Krishna as the Supreme Lord, and Krishna in turn as a leader, he also respects everyone. Therefore, connected to the quality, let us remember the 20 items of knowledge that Krishna provides in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, verse number 8 to 12. What are the first two qualities? First two elements of knowledge? Adamvitam. What are the humility and pridelessness? Very subtle. Yakri, which is simplicity in the 16 qualities, in the 16th chapter when it says the divine qualities. Simplicity, humility, these are great qualities for a devotee. Krishna sets the example for humility. During the Rajasuya sacrifice, what was Krishna's service? And Lord Jesus Christ also did the same thing. He washed the feet of all his disciples and then wiped them and, with a cloth. So, respect to others, there is a very beautiful managerial concept. Respect those people and remember them who are with you when you are on your way up. Chances are that they will be the people who will be with you when you are on your way down. So especially for leaders, it's very important to remember the name of the housekeeping staff, the security people, the cooks, the helpers. Very critical. Not that, that devotee from Bengal. It's very, very impersonal. Srila Bhakti Swami Guru Maharaj says that our relationship with each devotee should be such that whenever we have a dealing with somebody, we should be convinced that my relationship with this devotee is going to determine my progress and my life in Krishna consciousness. With that understanding, if a leader approaches everyone, then the concept of respect to everyone as well as humility, which are both connected to each other, is taken care of. We have so many examples of humility, like one of the important aspects of humility is to not consider oneself different. A whole problem is we want to look different. I remember in my B school days, we had this slang going on. If anybody would there is a crowd partying and one person would sit separate from them. So they would ask that person, "Kyun different kyun khel raha hai? Different kyun khel raha hai?" So we don't want to play different. We don't want to khel different. Like there was a former communist president of one of the nations in the Caribbean, near Caribbean. He said that as the whole world marches to the right, we march to the left. But on another note, there was this old man who got a call from his wife. She said, "Darling, please be careful. There is a madman who is driving against traffic on the highway." She said, "It's not one, there are thousands of them." So, this is the understanding that we should have, that as a leader, one of the important elements of humility and respect to others is not trying to stand out from the crowd. The typical definition is a manager is one who clears the path in the forest, and the leader is one who climbs onto the tallest tree and sees that this is the way out. He sets the vision. But to set the vision doesn't mean that you have to consider yourself completely different from the crowd, but to see that I'm part of the crowd, I want to serve along with them. As I say, hang out with the boys. Be with them. Be with one of them. This is very, very important element of leadership. And this is linked to both humility and respect for everyone. Now the other quality that is typical, I'm not going to tell you rocket science because I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm just trying to tell you what I understood as some of the take homes. Fourth is, because the purpose of our life is Kirtaniya Sadahari. So we already covered Amanina, Manadena and Trinadapi Sunichena. Now comes Tararapi Sarishna, which is tolerance. There's a classic example. Srila Prabhupada was in a flight. And I think he's coming back from some part of Africa. Probably he went to Kenya once, I think, some place. He was coming back and there was a football team that was there in the same flight. Now football teams are famous for They're generally not parliamentary behavior. And they were celebrating a victory. Not all planes those days had non-smoking rules and other things. So they were having alcohol and they were smoking and there was rumbustious crowd, too much noise. So Africa, so they're very good at music, music and dance. But to the devotee, it looks noisy. So there was this, I think it was Pushta Krishna Prabhu or so. He just quickly got up, or Upendra Prabhu. He just quickly got up and he wanted to shout at them, "What are you guys doing? Stop! You're blowing smoke into our spiritual master's face," like that. And Prabhupada just asked him to sit down. The whole trip they were filling the plane with smoke, and Prabhupada just tolerated to set an example. Of course, he tolerates in any way. When you are standing in queue, when your disciples are standing ahead of you for the bathroom or the restroom, Prabhupada did that in the early days. Srila Satsvarup Maharaj mentions in Prabhupada Lilamrit. Or he initiates all of them, and it is mentioned here, all the disciples left the yajna, leaving their spiritual master to clean up the place. In many ways, humility and tolerance are also interlinked. Because you can only be humble when you can tolerate difficult situations. And as a leader, we can be guaranteed that there will be difficult situations. Because like the Bhagavatam mentions, the cowherd boys walked into the mouth of Aghasura. They knew it was some animal. They had no anxiety. But Krishna was in severe anxiety. What will happen to these people? So when you're a leader, people assume that the leader will absorb the distress or the anxiety. And we know Mother Yashoda became mother of Krishna because she could purchase anxiety for Krishna. So this is the other qualification for a leader. This tolerance is intrinsically linked to the fact that he should be willing to purchase anxiety for Krishna. Purchase doesn't mean obviously you stand in the middle of the road and get run over by a car and then get admitted to the hospital and make everybody else serve you. Purchase anxiety means where nobody else is. Like there was this famous personality called Helen Keller. She was partially blind, deaf, and mute. That's as bad as it can get. She said that when they were speaking amongst themselves, it could be done. It was done. When who does it? The leader does it. Nobody else will do it. So that requires the capability, inclination, and desire to purchase anxiety for Krishna. In other words, there could be examples, like Prabhupada gives the example of an elderly monkey who advised the other monkeys that there was a kitchen there and there were a herd of sheep which used to walk in. He told them, please get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. Why? Because one day he saw something and it happened. One day one of the sheep went in, the cook chased him away with a burning ember from a stick from the stove. His fleece got fire and the whole place got burnt, including the monkeys who were left behind. So leader is willing to tread the difficult path to purchase anxiety for Krishna, because he can foresee situations by empowerment, by mercy of the parampara. And therefore, one very, very important qualification for a leader is that he is a great follower. Everybody knows that. He has to be a great follower. Srila Prabhupada said the secret of success in spiritual life is to follow the instructions of the predecessor acharyas. Sato vrittehe tarka pratishto shrutoyo vibinnam naso manistasya matam na binnam dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam. So that is the path that we have to tread, which is not often tread by the normal people. The road less traveled you have to take, and that will make all the difference. Sometimes we will have to do it. It may be unpopular decisions that we have to take. So Lord Prithu Maharaj, who was the king, I think Rupanaga Prabhu spoke about Prithu Maharaj's past time yesterday, came to know from Chitari Prabhu and some others. So Prithu Maharaj was like the rain when it came to benedictions. The rain would not make any discrimination, it would fall everywhere. But it's important for a leader to be firm and assertive yet compassionate. That balance has to be struck. So where taxes have to be extracted, Prithu Maharaj extracted the taxes. He would not discriminate between his son and his enemy's son. If his enemy's son would do something that has been found punishable, but he is actually innocent, he would release him. And if his son were to have committed something which is punishable, he would punish him. That's the principle. So I come from, at least my body was born in the southern part of India. It's a place called, it's a state called Kerala, which all of you know. Although most people in the north think south is all Madras. So this is a place called Kerala, and the Kerala police has a motto, Mrudu Bhave Dhrida Krite. I don't know which part they follow, but at least for leaders, it's very critical that Mrudu Bhave Dhrida Krite. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Guru Maharaj told me once that in a group of devotees, along with a group of devotees, that we should be uncompromising in principle, but compassionate in presentation. There should be uncompromising principle, non-negotiable policies, zero negotiation policies should be there, standard operating procedures, and code of conduct should be there. But in administering that, we should consider the needs, interests, and concerns of the individual involved. Like Srila Prabhupada would bring back GPCs who had difficulty with the principles, not once, but twice, thrice, 4 times. Like they asked Srila Prabhupada about, then this is closely linked to the quality of forgiveness, which is again required for a leader. Srila Prabhupada was asked that Haridas, Chota Haridas was not forgiven by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He granted him no audience and he had to come in. So he said, so why do you forgive all these people so much? What did he say? Because I am not Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. On another note, we can see how merciful Srila Prabhupada is. Srila Prabhupada, he is Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatara. Mosama Patita Prabhu na pai bear. Or Jyotidaya na koribe Patita dekhiya. Patita Pavana nama kishire lagiya. That's the prayer we made to Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu's disciples are even more merciful than even Mahaprabhu sometimes. So that's the level of compassion that as leaders we need to develop. I shouldn't be saying as leaders we need to develop. I'm not a leader, but the understanding should be that if we have to serve as leaders, we will need to develop the quality of forgiveness, which is closely intrinsically linked to compassion. And connected to the fact of following predecessor acharyas, I've so far given some 6 or 7 points. Maybe towards the end I will make you all recap. That will save me the trouble of summarizing. A leader always follows his authorities. Therefore, it is important for leaders to have a network of Shiksha Gurus. Sripad Ramanujacharya learned from Vararanga, Maladhara, Goshtipurna, Mahapurna, Kanchipurna, and Sripad Yamunacharya, and many more. Various things. Shailapurna, he learned about Ramayana, he learned about Divya Prabandham, he learned secret mantras, he learned the meaning of Om Namo Narayanaya. He had Shiksha Guru for various activities, and he is an Acharya. Goshtipurna sent him 17 times back. You know what is the 6th reason he sent him back for? Sri Vaishnavam Kaikodiyapin Varam. Come back after you become a Sri Vaishnava. He is telling Ramanuja. So that should be the level of surrender we have to our authority. Like His Grace Atma Tattva Prabhu, who is reasonably active in ISKCON now. Originally he was very, very active. He was the one who coordinated for the bringing of Narasimhadev to Mayapur. Sthanu Narasimhadev. So even he came to, I think if I'm not mistaken, Delhi. Srila Prabhupada Guru Puja was going on. And Lokanath Swami Guru Maharaj was there. And he was the one who was kind of engaging him. So he was himself Swami Atmananda at that time. So, and he had siddhis like Kartikeyam, meaning, he would clap and peacocks would come. From his hand, he could get out Panchamrita. He had all these siddhis. So he said, I touched Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet and I felt all my siddhis going away. One. Second thing, he went with like big things to Prabhupada and said, why don't you brush your teeth? His mouth was having halitosis, a bad breath. So Prabhupada really put him in his place. But during Guru Puja, he could see that they're offering to Prabhupada. He thought, okay, this is like any other place. They're worshipping Guru. But during Guru Puja, he could see that they were singing Sri Guru Charana Padma. Prabhupada was also singing Sri Guru Charana Padma. So he asked, what is he doing? He said, we are singing for him, he is singing for his Guru. So that increased his faith in Srila Prabhupada. So we should never become such leaders that there is nobody above us. There is a saying in English, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And if there is somebody who is greater than us, he will make us understand, because sadhu's job is to cut the false ego. They will. Srila Bhakti Damodar Swami Guru Maharaj says, humility will come by humiliation. So sometimes leader means band bajte hai. From both sides, we'll get hit. Our leadership will hit us, and those whom we are expected to serve and lead will also hit us. Therefore, the way to get out of this, important way to get out of this, is, we said about following the words of the previous acharyas, and we wanted to be in the right frame of consciousness, because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in Jaiva Dharma that consciousness drives activity. Jaisa man, vaisa karma. As the mind is, so the activity. The mind follows the chitta. The chitta is contaminated consciousness. So it is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam first canto that a true follower of Shukadev Goswami is one who has purified his eating, mating, sleeping and defending. And as leaders, most of us would like to ensure that the message we give to the congregation or to the community in general follows the parampara, and it has to be chaste to them and loyal to them. So that would presuppose that we also, as per the Srimad Bhagavatam, should hear with rapt attention. That is a phrase that is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. The main qualification to grow in spiritual life and to become a devotee of Krishna is to hear from spiritual authorities with rapt attention. So this Shravanam, I was told by one senior Vaishnava when I was going through one of my difficult times in spiritual life. It's not spiritual life. Spiritual life cannot be difficult. Because of materialism, my spiritual life was getting impinged or impacted. He said one should be able to philosophize in the time of adversity. So if you are able to philosophize in adversity, we will be able to do so only if you have heard with rapt attention. So as leaders, we should have an uncompromising policy of attending the entire morning program, ideally from 4:30 to 9, except for some any physical adjustments that need to be done. Or if you're a pujari, go early. And have a personal relationship with the deities. Pray to them. Speak with them. In your language, in Sanskrit, give prayers of the acharyas. In Bangla, prayers of the acharyas. In Hindi, Tamil, Malayalam, whatever. Krishna understands all languages. Most importantly, understands the language of the heart. So let's pray from the heart. Spend time with the deities. And Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj used to say, anybody who would go to him with any problem, he had only one solution. What is that? Chant Hare Krishna. It's extraordinary that for a Hare Krishna movement, we use chanting Hare Krishna as a solution very rarely. We say many other things. Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hai Sadhu Sangh. What would that mean? Uncompromising morning program, chanting with the devotees, attending Guru Puja of Srila Prabhupada, chanting Gurvashtakam loudly and clearly before the deities, attending Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting and Srimad Bhagavatam hearing are the two deliberate activities in the morning program. That is where sleep attacks us the most. Therefore, it is important to be with devotees at that point of time as leaders. Leaders' example starts there. And when we do that at an uncompromising level and we hear from the authorities, we will be given the philosophy. Philos means love, sophos means knowledge. We will get the right knowledge to develop love of Krishna also. Srila Prabhupada says that studying scripture helps us discriminate between matter and spirit. That understanding of philosophy will come by hearing with rapt attention from predecessor acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, and our Vaishnava authorities. Srila Prabhupada ki. I don't know, we have 2 minutes. Instead of questions, first I want to just quickly summarize. Each one of you can say one point that you remember from today's session. Please raise your hands and tell me. Yes, Prabhu. Don't be attached to leadership position. Thank you, Abhay Charan Prabhu. Yes, Brajendra Krishna Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Yes, Premavatar Prabhu. The devotees, especially those who are not seemingly seen as leaders. Yes, Prabhu. Leader is a good follower of the predecessor Acharya. Yes, Mohan Gaurchand Prabhu. Mritu Bhava Trida Krite. Okay. Yes, who else? Yes, Sarvamangal Gaur Prabhu. Respect to everyone. Amanitam. Yes. Yes, there you are. Yeah, go ahead. I don't know if it is sometimes, according to me, all times. Yes, Amrit Gaur Prabhu. Yes, thank you. Yes, Vaikunt Chandra Prabhu, you also raised your hand. Hearing with rapt attention, thank you. Yes, Prabhu. Same, okay, you heard him with rapt attention. Yes, Prabhuji. Leader follows his own authority as well. Yes, Rasal Prabhu. Yeah, there you are a pujari, so you'll naturally pick that point. So you have a personal relationship with the deities, pray to them. Yes, mothers, Vaishnavis. Yes, Srinarayana Matadi. Yeah, desire for liberation is Pishachi. Thank you. Yes. Who else? Vaishnavis. Ah, yes, thank you. Yes, bro. Humility and respect to? Yes, thank you. I guess that's it because we have reached 9 o'clock. But if you have any questions, you can speak with me separately on my next trip. Srila Prabhupada ki, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki.